Alrighty guys, welcome to the channel. These are going to be the top 10 things that are preventing you from being the best at PalWorld and reaching your max potential. Before we start guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with more PalWorld guides and tips and tricks. Alright, let's get started guys. The number one thing that's holding a lot of players back is building more than you have to when you first start your base. Instead, you want to explore the world. I wasted countless hours just building and building, and then Power Raiders come and burn down my base within seconds. Wait to build that fancy house till you unlock stone later on with technology points as you level up. If you build a house with wood and make it all fancy and huge, all it takes is a little bit of fire from these Power Raiders, your own pals burning down using their fire abilities. All of that spreads fire throughout your entire base and will destroy everything that you built and wasted so many hours on. Focus on building things such as the logging site, stone pit, and things that automate all your resources. This includes making berry plantations and wheat plantations, anything that can feed your pals so that they stay continuously working. Alright, this brings us to number 2 guys. Number 2 is going to be don't do manual labor, alright? Don't do labor on your own. Make your pals do the labor. You're wasting your time if you are constantly building things in your base. The whole point is to make an automated system with pals doing everything for you. Don't sit at your base constantly building things and analyzing what to build next. Instead, you should be exploring the world and finding more pals with different traits and different abilities to bring back to your base and put them to work, while your pals at home are constantly building things that you've set up. Also, you're going to be finding better spots in the world to build your base next to ore sites, next to logging sites, next to valuable resources like coal and sulfur. Those are the spots you actually want to start building your base around. Number 3, it's going to be don't make your base congested, okay? Because when the time comes, you actually won't have enough space to build this one facility called your breeding facility. Because the breeding facility is huge. Okay, whenever I built my first base, I thought I had spread out everything and I had space for everything. But this breeding facility is huge. I didn't have enough space and I had to make a whole new base altogether just to build this breeding facility. I had spent so much time working on my first base that I realized that I'll just have to start a whole new base altogether with more space and more land so that I can build this facility. This is also why I recommend exploring the world first, finding land with lots of space so that you can build your house, your mansion, and then all the different facilities you need. My fourth tip for you is going to be don't carry massive amounts of wood, ore, stone, palladium fragments, and all these resources with you. You're never going to use them outside of your base, so leave them in your storage boxes. You can actually access them from your storage box when you try to build something within your base. You don't have to carry it around in your bag. And also, make sure to build lots of storage boxes next to all your resource farming facilities. It makes it easier so that you're organized and you know where all your resources are located. So what I like to do is build one storage box next to my logging site, a storage box next to my stone site, and then a storage box next to all my wheat and my plantations, just so that I'm very organized and I know where everything is at. I also like to build a storage box within my house for all those valuables and things that I need to sell. Sometimes I like to carry a little bit of gold with me, but I leave most of all my gold within my storage boxes because I never actually ever use them. And if I do need to use them, I can just use a fast travel spot to get back to my base, pick up the gold, and go back and buy something from a merchant. Also, whenever you die and you respawn, all your valuables and all items in your bag are going to be left at the location that you died. And so, if you're carrying only the minimal things that you need, you also have lots of space in your bag in case you start mining ore or mining certain things, or you find lots of valuables. But also, you're not going to lose everything. You know that everything's already at your base. When you start exploring the world, you're going to find lots of pals that are going to start dropping lots of items within your bag because they give you flame organs, ice organs, all sorts of stuff, right? Feathers. And all of this stuff is going to start taking up space within your bag. And you want to make sure you have enough space and enough slots in your bag so that you can carry all these things. Otherwise, they're going to be left on the ground and you won't be able to pick them up. Alright guys, number 5, we're going to be talking about the stats that you need to improve early on, okay? So the stats you want to improve early on are going to be first HP. HP is very important because you're going to face bosses with lots of HP. We're talking about 3,000 to 15,000 all the way to 70,000 HP. One of the first bosses you face are going to have about 40,000 HP, the Rain Syndicate Tower boss. And so you want to have enough HP. You also want to have enough stamina. Second thing is stamina. Stamina is going to help you run away, be able to evade attacks more often. Because once you run out of stamina and you're not able to evade, you're going to get hit and you're just going to die. And so you want to have stamina. Then I would proceed to increase your weight and your work speed. First, weight so that you can just carry more, so that whenever you go and mine outside of your base, you can bring back lots more than you could with less weight. Work speed is also just not that very important because you're having most of your pals do all of the work for you. Work speed would really only be important if you're building yourself, which I recommend you don't. Make all your pals do all the work for you. In talking about pals doing all the work for you, you want to make sure your pals have great sanity levels, and you want to maintain those sanity levels. Sanity levels are not the same thing as keeping your pal well fed. They are affected by multiple different factors, including sickness, environmental factors, just working conditions in general. They can develop random diseases, random sicknesses, issues where they just don't feel like working. The first thing you want to make sure is that you have enough beds for all your pals. At first, you're only going to be able to build the straw beds, but once you unlock the fluffy beds, I highly recommend building those, especially for those bigger pals that you obtain later. You also want to install hot springs at your base. I recommend at least 1 in the beginning and then 2 as you get around to 10 pals within your base. This is going to help with keeping their sanity levels high, but there are other things that are going to come into factor as well, including what they are fed. So in the beginning, you're going to be mostly feeding them berries with the berry plantation, but you want to build better crops later on, such as the wheat plantation and better food. The wheat plantation is going to enable you to create better foods for your pals. As you level up with technology points, you're going to be able to unlock better variants of things that you already have, and you want to use those, especially with higher level pals and higher level dungeon bosses that you capture. You can actually make your pals work harder and work under more stress by building this thing called the pal monitoring stand. However, it will come at the cost of their sanity, and their sanity levels will deplete a lot faster. So you want to watch out for that. I like to keep it at normal, but sometimes if you need something done real quick, you can increase their work level. And also make sure to build a berry feast bag so that your pals are able to automatically eat for themselves when working at your base. Alright guys, number 7, and this tip is actually very important and very helpful. It's going to be building a crafting food bag to automate eating for your player and the pals that you carry on your journey. Instead of manually going to your bag to feed yourself or eating berries or food, just store it in one of these pouches and you can just automatically eat while on your journey. You actually need the advanced technology points to unlock this item, and once you do, you definitely want to craft this so that your player and your pals are automatically eating, so that you never have to go in your bag and start looking for food and start eating yourself. After I unlocked this item, I would just let the game run sometimes while I did work at home, and I would just gradually gain experience passively because I no longer had to watch out to feed myself or feed my pals that I was carrying around. I could just let the game run and I would gain experience from my pals just building on the base and producing plantations and different things like that. Alright guys, now we're at number 8, and number 8 is going to be having specific pals for specific work. Okay, you might think that having a pal that has 5 different working abilities is awesome, but they are actually not going to do what you want it to do. It will instead use its time in between all of the tasks rather than focus on the one you want. So you want to choose a pal specifically for a certain work trait. You don't want a pal that has 5 or 4 different working abilities. Instead, choose one that has 2 to 3, maybe 2, so that they focus on certain areas of your base. In case the pal is not working at the specific tasks you want, you can throw the pal at the task you want done so that they focus on that and that they are assigned to that. But you want to choose a pal specifically for a certain work trait. For example, Tomcat is a great pal just for mining. There's certain pals out there that just do lumbering and they focus just on your lumbering. So those are great because sometimes I realize that when I have pals with 5 different traits, what they do is they start using their time in between everything. So instead of just focusing on the one you want, they'll focus on one for a few seconds, then they'll go do something else for a few seconds, and it's very inefficient. Alright guys, number 9 is going to be keeping those extra pals so that you can sell them and also butcher them in the future. So you don't want to get rid of your pals in the beginning, all those extra ones that you just stack up. You might have like 10 Fox Sparks and 10 Lamb Balls, and you might think, oh, let's just get rid of them. But actually, you might want to keep them because you can actually sell them to the black market pal man and also pal merchants out there in the world. You can get gold from selling your pals, and you can also buy pals from these merchants. You also unlock the butchering tool later on, where you can butcher the extra pals that you have for meat and organs and craftable parts. This was actually very useful, especially if you're looking for a flame organ or an ice organ or an electric organ or a different craftable part that you need to build on your base. It's very useful to use that butchering tool to get those extra parts that you need right then and there, instead of having to go and capture another one of those pals. So make sure not to discard or drop any of those pals early on in the game. Save them up so that you can get gold and craftable parts for your future base operations. And guys, number 10, something that you need to know early on is that some eggs incubate faster by putting them next to a heat source. Not all eggs, but some eggs do, okay? So if you put firewood or a heating lamp next to an egg incubator, it's going to hatch a lot faster, sometimes by 50%, sometimes by 100% faster. So you cut that time in half. So guys, make sure to use heat sources for your egg incubators. I like to keep my egg incubators within the house so that I can just add a heat source, or I can add a cooler next to it, whichever that is needed to make the eggs hatch faster. And I actually have one extra tip that I need to mention here, and it actually should be included in the top 10 list because it's very important and a lot of people have questions about this. It's about teaching skill moves or new attack moves to your pals. A lot of people think that if you teach a skill or an attack to one of your pals that already have 3 moves assigned to it, that it's going to overwrite one of the older moves. That's actually not the case. You can actually swap out these moves at any given moment. As you may know, if you have played the game, you can obtain these new skill moves and attack moves from a thing called the skill tree. They're located all around the world, but there's only a very few amount. There is one that's very close to the beginning portion of the game, and once you obtain these fruits, you're able to teach them to your pal. And if you have a pal that's a fire type, electric type, dragon type, whatever type it is, you can actually teach any of the move types to any of the pals. It doesn't matter what type they are. If you've played Pokemon, you know that some moves some Pokemon can't learn, but in this game the pals can learn any moves that you teach them. So what you want to do is take advantage of this. Make sure that your pal has 3 different moves of different types so that they're versatile in any situation. You don't want a pal with 3 fire type moves or just 3 straight up dragon type moves. You want to teach them different ones like dragon, electric, grass, or normal, dark, fire, whichever ones you want. Make sure that they have 3 different types of moves in their move set. Thank you for watching the video and up to this point. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Make sure to hit the like button if this video does help y'all. I know that many of these tips are going to be helpful for new players and even players that have been playing for a while that didn't know about a couple of these things. Hope you guys are able to make your base work automatically and efficiently using these tips, as well as enabling you to go and explore the world while your pals do everything for you. I'm coming out with PalWorld guides, tips, and just funny gameplay clips and moments, live streams every day, guys, and I hope to continue to make more videos. So make sure to like, subscribe, support the channel, and comment down below if you have any questions and if this video helped you. Alright guys, enjoy your day.